They called it a flying coffin. In 1942, if you climbed aboard a short Stirling bound for Berlin, statistics said you might never come back. 1 in 8 crews were lost on some raids. German night fighters stalked the darkness above Europe, and the Stirling was their favorite prey. But then, something happened. The hunted began fighting back. The Stirling was Britain's first 4-engine heavy bomber. Big, powerful, but fatally flawed. Because of a pre-war Air Ministry requirement, its wingspan was restricted, so its wings were too short. That meant it couldn't fly as high as later bombers like the Avro Lancaster or the Handley Page Halifax. And in the night war over Europe, altitude meant survival. By 1943, German night fighters equipped with radar, especially the deadly Messerschmitt Bf-110 and Junkers Ju-88, were masters of the dark. Guided by ground control and onboard radar, they would slide beneath British bombers and fire upward into their vulnerable bellies. The Stirling, flying lower than other heavies, was easier to find, easier to catch. Berlin crews whispered about the odds, about friends who vanished in flames over the Reich. To the Luftwaffe, the Stirling looked like wounded prey. But here's what the German pilots didn't expect. The Stirling carried more defensive guns than most bombers early in the war, turrets in the nose, tail, and dorsal positions. Some versions even had ventral guns, and its wide fuselage made it surprisingly stable under fire. When night fighters closed in, crews didn't just panic, they fought. Tail gunners waited until the last possible second before opening fire. Pilots threw the massive bomber into violent corkscrew dives, an evasive maneuver that forced attacking fighters to overshoot or risk collision. There are documented cases of Stirlings shooting down pursuing fighters, sometimes multiple in a single night. German reports began to note something unsettling. These bombers weren't breaking apart easily. They were absorbing punishment, returning to England riddled with holes, engines out, hydraulics failing, and still landing. The prey had teeth. By late 1943, losses forced the RAF to withdraw the Stirling from the main bombing offensive, but it didn't disappear. Instead, it became a glider tug and special operations aircraft, dropping paratroopers and agents deep behind enemy lines before and during D-Day. From death sentence to silent workhorse of liberation. The short Stirling was never the highest flying or the most famous, but in the black skies over Berlin, when German hunters thought they'd found easy prey, they discovered a bomber that refused to die.